The thunder of iron chariots shook the earth as a mighty horde approached the slopes of Mount Tabor. Atop the mountain stood a lone woman, Deborah the Prophetess, who had foreseen this very moment from her seat of judgment in Ephraim. For 20 years, the people of Israel had lived under the cruel fist of Jabin, king of Canaan. His power stretched across the land, enforced by his ruthless general Sisera, who led a fearsome army of 900 iron chariots. Sisera. The very mention of his name sent shudders through Israel. He was a man without mercy, who left nothing but ruin in his wake. Villages were burned, crops were seized, and anyone who dared to resist was cut down without hesitation. Israel had forgotten their God, and now they suffered the consequences. But when the Israelites cried out to the Lord, he heard them and delivered a message to his spokeswoman Deborah, a judge of Israel and a warrior of faith. Rising from her seat, Deborah turned to her servant. "Send for Barak, the son of Abinoam. Tell him to come at once." From the far north, in the hill country of Kadesh, Barak, the warrior, answered Deborah's summons. He had seen the wrath of Sisera firsthand and knew the time for battle had come. But as he stood before the judge of Israel, he felt a twinge of fear. Deborah's voice was powerful and commanding. "Has not the Lord God of Israel commanded you to go to Mount Tabor and take with you 10,000 men from Naphtali and Zebulun?" She continued. "The Lord has promised to draw out Sisera and his army to the river Kishon, and there will deliver him into your hands." Barak stiffened, and his heart beat faster as he heard this promise. Could Israel really break free from Jabin's grasp? He spoke, but his voice betrayed the fear that still clung to him. "If you will go with me, then I will go. But if you do not go with me, then I will not go." Deborah studied him in silence, and Barak felt her piercing gaze run through him like a knife. Finally, she nodded. "I will go with you," she said. "But because of your hesitation, the victory will not be all yours. The Lord will deliver Sisera to the hand of a woman." Barak clenched his jaw, but he did not protest. The time had come for war. The call spread like fire through the hills, and warriors came from Naphtali and Zebulun to the rocky slopes of Mount Tabor for the final showdown. When the news reached the ears of Sisera, the mighty general rose from his seat filled with fury and disgust. "They dare?" he hissed. Then a smile spread over his lips. "Fools! I have crushed armies far greater before, and this time will be no different." With a flick of his wrist, Sisera's war horn was sounded, and the earth trembled as 900 chariots rolled onto the plains. From the heights of Mount Tabor, Deborah and Barak watched as the vast host advanced towards them, a sight that would strike fear into the hearts of most men. But with Deborah by his side, Barak was unshaken. He turned to the prophetess. "It is time." Deborah nodded. In a mighty voice, she called to the army of Israel, "Up on your feet, for today the Lord will deliver Sisera into your hands." With these words, the army of Israel rushed down the slopes of the mountain, uplifted by God's promise. Sisera's host prepared to meet them, but at that moment, something incredible happened. A great storm suddenly erupted. The Kishon River swelled and rose up, flooding the plain. The battlefield turned to mud. The Canaanite chariots with their iron wheels were trapped in the muck, and the greatest advantage of Sisera's forces turned into a deadly trap. The Canaanites were disoriented and helpless, while Barak's army surged forward, fighting with a fury unlike anything they had known. Sisera's host fell before them, and not one of them survived. Amidst the chaos, Sisera watched in horror as his men were slaughtered. Realizing the battle was over, he turned and fled to escape the wrath of Israel. At long last, he spied a place of refuge, a solitary tent in the wilderness kept by a woman named Jael. She watched as Sisera approached, exhausted, sweating, and panicked. With a soft voice, she welcomed him into her tent. "Come in, my lord. Come into my tent. Do not be afraid." Desperate for rest, he entered and was treated to a warm drink of milk to drown his sorrows. Lulled into a false sense of security, he lay down to sleep, wrapped in a warm blanket. But Jael was not finished with him. As the great general snored peacefully, she moved stealthily to the corner of the tent, picking up a tent peg and a hammer. Without hesitation, she approached, and in one swift moment drove the peg through his skull. Sisera's body shuddered with the blow. The mighty general, the terror of Israel, was dead. Meanwhile, Barak had been pressing the attack against the remaining Canaanite forces and found his way to the tent of Jael. As he entered, he saw in an instant that the word of the Lord had been fulfilled. Sisera was dead, nailed to the ground by the hand of a woman. With the enemy defeated, Israel was free. The people rejoiced, and Deborah and Barak, the deliverers, gave thanks to God through songs of praise. And for 40 years the land had rest. But the price of freedom is quickly forgotten, and it would not be long before Israel was in chains again.